afternoon, and good evening, EXP family. Welcome to Level Up. My name is Alyssa Specht. I'm with EXP University. I am thrilled to be here with you today. So excited for what we've got going on today. And I'll give you the rundown in just a moment. But before I do, I want to just take a moment to just genuinely thank you for tuning in. If you're a return viewer, for coming back, and I hope that you are getting a lot of value. If you are new here, I'd like to start with just a little bit of orientation. So you right now are watching Level Up. So we do this every Monday, every Wednesday, and we bring you training that's going to help you level up your life and level up your business. And you can find us on YouTube. You can find us in EXP World. You can find us on Workplace. Where aren't we? So guys, I want to ask you right now to wherever you are watching, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, because I want to make sure that you get a notification at the next time that we go live. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the rundown of what we have going on today. So we're going to first start by talking to Sara Delansig, which I'm super excited about. I'll talk about that in actually just another moment. But after that, we're going to be talking to Brandon Devere about how creating an attractive character can help your business thrive. Intriguing, right? So we'll hear from Brandon after that. And then to close out the day, we are going to hear from the Connor Steinbrook about 5 best ways to become a better leader, which leadership is important in all aspects of your life and all aspects of your business. So I'm super excited to learn a little bit about that. So as I said, though, we're going to kick the day off talking to Sara Delansig. And Sara is such a delight. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person at the shareholder event. She is truly a wonderful human and super funny and just so informative. So I think that she's going to give you some of that energy today. And so what she's going to be talking about, she's actually doing a series. So you're going to see a little bit more of Sara, and it's about inside sales agents. And I think, you might be wondering, well, what is that? We're going to tell you, all right? We're going to tell you about what is an inside sales agent? What are they not? What don't they do? And how do I hire? What should I be looking for? So stay tuned, guys. And right now, why don't we do it? Let's just kick it over to Sara Delansig.
What's up, everybody? This is Sara Delansig, your friendly ISA, here to share with you. Let's see, what are we talking about today? What should you look for in an ISA? So ISA is a buzzword that you may be hearing around. Maybe you heard Tina Cole talk about it at Build 2022, where she said that it should be the first role that you hire for your real estate business, not an admin. But so if you're hearing that, now I'm here to help you understand, what it is and how you can, what you should look for in an ISA. So I am actually an ISA. I own a small boutique ISA company called the Inside Sales Agency, but I'm also with EXP Realty. I just didn't enjoy selling real estate. I enjoy making phone calls instead. So I cover that and I refer business out. And that's why I love EXP, but that's a whole nother podcast that we could do. So let's just talk about, what you should look for in an ISA. So I have 10 of these and I'm going to try to go through them. And this is just my opinion. Okay. But, doing this, I used to run an inside sales and outside sales real estate coaching team. And I did that for 2.5 years. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. We found ways to have fun at work while making hundreds of calls a day. So, it was like 160, but anyway, we did that and it was a lot of fun. So, so I have a little experience in this, and these are what I came up with, my 10 points on what you should look for in an ISA. So number 1, communication skills. This is a huge one. Okay. Communication skills are super, super important. You want your ISA to represent you. You want them to speak clearly and effectively to your leads, prospects, clients, whatever the case may be. So knowing how to communicate is essential. It's like if you can't communicate well, then ISA is probably not the position for you. So maybe just let's find something else if that's not a possibility. So communication skills is huge. It's number one. It's like not something that you can ignore. So what I will say about that as well is, they need to be somebody that can handle any kind of objection and effectively overcome that objection, which I think I get into a little bit later on one of my other points. So we'll just hop to number 2. I think communication skills is pretty self-explanatory so far, right? And number 2 thing that you need to look for when you hire an ISA is they need to be resilient. Okay, we get hung up on, we get yelled at, we get accused of, things. There's so many things. Like I have had some of the strangest conversations with people. We get cussed at, whatever the case may be, right? Like, and we got to let it go. It doesn't matter. And as a matter of fact, it's more, the right ISAs will find it as entertainment and not take it personally. They aren't going to get offended by it. They're not going to get upset by it. They'll just kind of laugh it off and move on, right? So we need to be resilient because that is the reality of what we do. This is a job where I make hundreds of calls a day, and every once in a while you get a crazy. And when you get the crazy, you just got to take it for what it is, and you can't take anything personally on that. So they've got to be resilient. That's my number 2. All right. So number 3, what you should look for in an ISA is goal-oriented. An ISA has to be goal-oriented because they need to foresee what it's going to take to get a closing for you or an appointment, right? So they need to say, okay, if only 10% of people pick up the phone, statistically, then if I make 100 calls, then that means 10 people will pick up. And if I can, convert or talk to those people 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to get them to agree to market updates, a CMA, or property alerts, then I know that 9 out of 10 times I'm going to get an appointment out of one of them too. So I need to talk to 100 people, or I need to make 100 calls to talk to 10 people to get one appointment. That's just an example, but I think it would be a pretty accurate example. So depending on the time of day you're calling and the type of lead you're calling, we're just going to go with online leads, right, for this. So goal-oriented, meaning that they are looking ahead and planning out, okay, what is it going to take for me to get where I need to go? Which brings me to number 4, and that is that they need to be competitive, right? So not only are they seeking out what they can do to get that appointment, but they're also competing with themselves or with other ISAs or whatever the case may be to try to be the best. And I'm going to tell a little bit of a story about when I ran this ISA team and how they did it. And it was very Wolf of Wall Street kind of, where they had they had a TV on the wall, and we typed in our numbers live on how many appointments we were setting. And it was very motivating, by the way, just so you know. And I always wanted to be the best because whoever set the most appointments the day before would get the hottest leads the next day, which is an amazing way of doing this, by the way. And so I never called in sick because I always wanted to be the person to set the most appointments to get the $500 commission that I would get from selling the real estate coaching. Okay. It was so motivating for me that there was another girl and I who we would stay late, and she would have set an appointment, and I would see she's got 3 appointments. I've got 4, but I can hear her setting her 4. So now I need to stay later and I need to compete with her. And we would go back and forth until we had both set like 10 appointments in one day. And that's just the way we were. We were wired that way. And so competitiveness in your ISA, I find, is a really, really good thing. So that brings me to what do we have here? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is that they need to be self-motivated, especially in today's day and age, post-COVID. Everything is online. Hello, we're in the tech world right now. You're watching me online somewhere. And I work in a Zoom room all day, and I used to work in an office with, 10 other ISAs, and we were standing right next to each other, making calls and everything like that. Well, that was motivating for me to do it that way. But now I have to motivate myself by the appointments that I set and making sure that my clients are happy and all of these other things. So I have to make sure that I am self-motivated to get these things done, because I'm working from home, and it's not for everyone. Now, if you're hiring an ISA and they're coming to the office, that might not be as important, but to me, it is very important one. So let's get to number 6 thing that you want to look for in an ISA, and that is being organized, right? You've spent probably a good amount of time organizing your CRM, hopefully, tagging buyers and sellers and making sure they're on the right campaigns and following through with all of the tasks that you might have and all of that kind of fun stuff. So an ISA that comes in that doesn't know what they're doing can mess all that up, right? They could trash a hot lead. They could call a client, a prospect. I mean, there's any immeasurable amount of things that a crappy ISA could do. And if they're not organized, efficient, all of those good things, I think I have other words for this, right? Structured, methodical. If they don't have that in them, then, it might not be the best fit. So, or the best position for them. Which brings me to number 7. Yeah, number 7, which is that they need to be tech savvy. Okay, it kind of rolls in, it goes hand in hand, right, with the other one. But you need an ISA that is going to have some idea how to use tech, right? And I don't think this is as big of a problem now as it used to be, but they need to understand how to use a CRM, how to use a dialer, how to do what they need to do through it. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So let's get to number 8, which is they need to be a problem solver. A lot of the people that we speak with want to get us off the phone right away. They're like, yeah, I just clicked on that. I'm not really interested. There's ways that you can get around that. A lot of you are like, okay, that call's dead, and you'd hang up right then. Not me, not my team. No. Because that's just an opportunity to ask them, you say, oh, I totally get it. A lot of people that click online ads aren't really looking, but, what prompted you to want that information? Are you local? There's so many different things you could do. I won't get into all of them, but you want to get to the bottom of it. What's their motivation? Why did they click it? There's a reason they clicked it. Maybe they just really like looking at homes online. I have, my best friend that passed, she was like that. She loved looking at homes online. She would just move into a place and still be looking at homes for sale and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's an addiction, honestly. But but anyway, there are different reasons. You want to get to the bottom of the problem and what's holding them back, their motivation. So a really good ISA should be able to do this. They should be able to, maneuver around that while feeling like they're on the side of the prospect and they're not judging them or attacking them or being too salesy or anything like that. And so that brings me to number 9 thing that you want to look for in an ISA, which is they need to be knowledgeable. I prefer to hire ISAs that have real estate experience. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are licensed. It just means that they understand terms like CMA, right? And how you don't say CMA to a prospect. You say CMA to the realtor, but you say, home estimate to a prospect, right? Because realtor lingo is different. So you have to be knowledgeable about your market, about, the interest rates, about all of the things that might affect your business in that area. Okay. We have a city called Puyallup in Washington, and anybody that's not from Washington doesn't know how to say that city's name, it's spelled weird or whatever. So if you are hiring an ISA that is out of the area, make sure that you tell them how to pronounce the word, the cities that are hard to pronounce. Explain to them why that's important, because otherwise you're going to get known as like somebody that's not an expert on the area, and you don't want that. They're going to be representing you. You want them to be authentic, which is number 10. So authenticity and communication skills are the 2 bookends of all of this. If you do not have an ISA who is authentic, you are going to have a crappy ISA. And if you don't have an ISA that can communicate well, then you're going to have a crappy ISA. So these are super, super important. I cannot stress enough. There is a big difference between authenticity and salesy. Okay. There's no reason to be too professional or to sound ridiculous. And you just want your ISA to talk like they're, speak like they're talking to a friend, and not like they're talking to, I don't know. Who even talks like some of the way these salespeople do? Like, hello, this is Sara Delansig. I'm reaching out to you with EXP Realty. Nobody's going to talk like they're on the radio, right? That's not how you want it. And that doesn't sound like a real person, and you're going to get hung up on. So don't let that happen, right? Have an ISA that speaks professionally, but, like they're talking to one of their friends. It doesn't need to be this performance. So with that being said, I'm sure you guys might have some questions about this, and there's an amazing workplace group that I put together called Inside Sales Agents General. If you scan that little dinosaur man, you can find me in there and you can ask me questions, and I would love to help you out. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Woo. All right, my friends, you just heard from America's treasure, Sara Delansig. That was amazing. Thank you so much for being on, Sara. And for you, viewer, I want you to keep in mind that we're going to have a Q&A session, I think towards the end of June with Sara. So if you've got questions, I actually want you to put them in the comments right now, and I can ask those questions when we bring you on for the next segment. So really looking forward to that. Okay, my friends, we are not done yet. We are going to keep on with this wonderful Wealth Wednesday by talking to Brandon Devere. Now, this is an interesting topic. We're talking about how creating an attractive character can help your business thrive. So we're going to be talking about walking through the process of creating that attractive character that your organization can leverage. So we're talking about the importance of the audience and creating content that you can repurpose and so much more. So without further ado, let's toss it over to Brandon Devere.
Hey there, my name is Brandon Devere, and thank you all for tuning in. Very excited to be a part of this Level Up session. Very, very excited and passionate about growing organizations and things like that. I've been with EXP for coming up on 5 years now. And I've been very fortunate to have a fairly large organization, and one that has been very good to me. And just wanted to share with you just a couple things that I have done to help kind of nurture that organization all the way down through 7, even 8 levels, because they are important as well. The first thing that I would really like to talk about is being available for your agents, and then also being engaged with them. And one thing that I've done really, really well in what has worked really well for me is let them leverage things that I've done. I actually wrote a book. I don't expect everybody else to write a book, but with that book, I've had agents leverage that book to basically make an introduction with somebody, say, hey, here's my partner. I partnered with Brandon. He wrote a book. Hey, here's something maybe you can take a look at, and maybe we can get him on the phone right now. And that has helped them recruit as well. So having them leverage you and whatever you've done, again, not saying that you need to write a book, but whatever, maybe do a social post or anything like that, just something that your agents can get from you as a thing of value. The other things as far as like being available to them is being able to take a call from them or even help them. And the reality is not all these agents are going to need your help, and not all of them are going to want it. But if they know that it's there, that is an added benefit. A couple years ago, actually, my son was going into school. And as he was going to school, he was running into the school the very first day. So the previous year he was in kindergarten, and he was sitting at just on the other side of the fence was the playground. Well, now he's in first grade, and he's going like running down the street to go into the playground. It's like 100 yards away from where we're at, about a football field size. But each day he would look back and check and see if I was there. And each day he would just get a little bit further and a little bit further. So this is kind of or until the last day where he just said, bye, Dad, and just took off. So this is kind of, I relate this into your organization in this way, is that if they know that you're there, they don't have to keep looking to make sure that you're there. So they may not ask for help from you for 2 years. and then all of a sudden they pop up, but they know that they can ask you that question or help from you in some way. So I think that's very important when you start giving value to your organization in that way, that they know that they can help you. One thing this is very hard. I don't know to grasp, or it's kind of an ego hit a little bit to know this, but I want to share this with you because it took me a little while before I could actually understand it and feel it. And then now that I do, it's like a weight lifted off your chest, because just because the tiers of where you're at, let's say there's a level 4 agent with you. I actually talk with one of my tier 4 agents almost, basically every week. And sometimes we get to where we're talking multiple times a day. And they aren't even in the same country as me. But we connected on a level to where we can collaborate in that way. But these two things are very important to understand, because just because of where you are tier level doesn't mean that you're like their boss or anything like that. But what it is there's a chance that you're going to get people within your organization that you had never met before, and then now you're going to meet them, and they might be a better agent than you in certain regards. They might close more deals. They might have done a lot more. That doesn't mean they can't learn from you either, but also like understand that they might have things that you can learn from them, not just them learn for you. Same thing, or learn from you. Same thing as well with agent attraction. There might be somebody that's a way better agent attractor than you. I have multiple of those. I'm very fortunate to have multiple of those in my organization. And I understand, like, hey, I can learn from these guys, and I don't always have to bring, even though I want to bring value, I don't always have to be the one that is bringing value. You can actually collaborate and learn from them. Another thing, I kind of want to talk a little bit also about organization size. I know that we get a little nervous or antsy to get like big numbers real quick. And the reality is it's going to take us some time to do so. And if you're maybe you just joined recently, or maybe you've been with EXP as long as I have, but you just started agent attraction within the last year, and you have 6, 12 agents or whatever it is, understand that you can still give value to those people and let them leverage you. Get them on, they talk about the one-on-one, or sorry, not the one-on-one, but the 3-way edification calls, where you are providing that to your organization, that also can have them provide that to the organization as well. Again, like I said, not all of the agents in your organization will need your help, or even want your help. But as long as you're there and they know that you're there, in whatever aspect it may be, it can be asking them to be on a podcast of yours, or maybe you being on the podcast of theirs, or something like that. That may be of help to them. Maybe it's helping them with a review or something like that. So bottom line is, like, be available, engage with your agents how you can. I know some people do, weekly calls. Some people do, monthly calls. Some people have offices locally, but connect with your agents. Although that we are virtual and we can do it from anywhere, there's still an element that people want to be connected with someone. The other is have their best interests in mind. I know that EXP has gotten kind of a dirty name, like a bad reputation, because a lot of agents understand that we can be very profitable, and it's very valuable to build an organization and attract agents. And sometimes what we lead with kind of blurs out all the great opportunities and things that we have, all the tools, everything that we have here at EXP. And unfortunately, a lot of us, I've done it too. I've gone and just vomited all over people and like, hey, EXP has this, and this. It's great. Come join us. But a lot of times we aren't listening to what they are saying, what they want. I call it the prescription before diagnosis. Like, you walk into the doctor and the doctor says, or the doctor hands you, 3 pills. This one's for, diabetes. This one is for, blood pressure. This one is for ED, whatever. But like they could be the top 3 pills and medicine for those diagnoses, I guess. But if the person coming in just stubbed their toe and they just want to make sure it's not broken, that's not going to be of value to them. So I know that we've heard this a lot. Like Gene Frederick talks about it a lot, like ask questions, the teammate, tell me about yourself. And I would really double down on that stuff. And I would double down on that stuff even after they are with you. Like, you've brought them on, keep engaging and keep asking, keep seeing what it is that they want. They may not want lead gen. They may not want a CRM. So maybe there's no reason for us to discuss that with them. But lead them with value, and also ask, yourself a couple questions like, who is it that I'm looking for? Why, or where can I find them? Why would they want to work with me? And what can I do to even provide even more value? So I would always think about leading with value. How can you provide more value? Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it. Gary V talks about leading with value, jab, 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 right hook, where you are just giving value instead of asking for things. And I think that we get a little down that rabbit hole of asking for things quite often. Another thing that I wanted to touch on here is that, you don't have to be an influencer to change someone's lives. I think that we get caught up. I do it too. Like, I'm sure you've heard the term comparison as the thief of joy. Like, most everybody, even in our, like, if you have, like, there are a lot of people in our company that have more agents in their organization than a lot of brokerages. Even if you have like 5 or 6 agents in your organization, like, you could have a broker friend that has like 3 agents in their entire brokerage, and you are already building on that. And so as you see these large numbers, and I get caught up in it too, because I've been here 5 years, I need to do this, I need to do that. And it becomes like, you kind of shut down and you're like, man, I'm not good enough. I'm not getting there. I would just reassure to yourself, like, a lot of agents, when they came over to EXP, maybe didn't even have it in their plans to build an organization. And like I said, some of them, like, as I joined, I was like, it was a big deal for me. I really wanted, I thought I wanted to become a broker, and then realized that I didn't. And that's right when EXP came into my life, and it happened to be the perfect timing for that. But there are a lot of agents that are just at EXP for the value of EXP, and then agent attraction is, an added benefit, and they might get in for a couple of years before they start attracting. And so I guess understand that as you're building your numbers, and you're getting your 5, 6, then you're at 12 and 24, 30, 50, whatever it is, you're building that while you're building your real estate business. So it's kind of a secondary business that's being built on it. So it's going to grow a little bit slower than normal, or it's not than normal, but than you might want it to. And as you're looking at other brokerages staying at they're adding, a couple agents a year as well, understand that you are doing great in that time. And again, don't compare yourself to other people, because you may be in a different situation than they were. So a story I want to share again about my son is about being an influencer. And there's Russell Brunson is the author of Expert Secrets and owner of ClickFunnels, founder of ClickFunnels. If you're familiar with him, but he has a quote that he basically says that, everyone has a voice. Everyone's waiting. There are people that want what you have today, and they're just waiting to hear your voice, to share it with them. And here's an example of that, where there are people out there that are like me. There's people out there that need just a couple $100 extra a month, and it would be a game changer for them. So this story, ironically, I told you the story about my son going into school. Well, that same year, on October 29th, October 29th, 2019, my son, I dropped him off at school. We walked up to the gate. He walked in. He made it about, 90 feet away, and he turned around. He held up his finger, and he did this. He held up just a 1. And I was like, what's going on? And he came over to the fence, and he had tears in his eyes, and he says, I can't do this. And I was like, what do you mean you can't do this? You've been at school for 3 months now. You can't do this. What happened? Like, what's wrong? So from that day until we shut down March 15th, 2020 for COVID, he made it to school 3 full times, 3 full days of school during that time. And I had no idea. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. Is CPS going to come take my kid away because he's not going to school? He's not here. And each day I would go up and sit in the office, take him to the office, not like the work office, like the school office, elementary school office. And we would sit there for anywhere from 15 minutes to 5 hours. Now, as you can imagine, someone who sells real estate, sorry, excuse me, little crack there. As you can imagine, someone who sells real estate sitting in a school office 5 days a week for anywhere from 15 minutes to 5 hours, trying to get your kid to school, that it's going to weigh heavily on your business, and your business isn't going to do very well. And so during that time, I had rev share coming in that wasn't tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was enough to keep us afloat. And imagine having this conversation with your significant other by saying, hey, my job's more important. I need you to take our son to school because I need to go make more money for us. Imagine having that conversation and how that could just snowball crazy out of control to where I believe that EXP quite literally saved my family. Not because we went on massive vacations or bought amazing cars and all this stuff with the rev share that has come in, but the fact that I was able to support and still have my family have our needs taken care of, while our family, and quite frankly, my son, was going through such a very, very difficult time. Everything is better now. In case you're wondering, he is doing much better. He kind of had a COVID reset or a reset with COVID, so it turned out for him a little bit better. But I just wanted to let you know that it's the life changing. We talk about life changing and how this is. Think about the lives that you can change in your organization and people as you add to your organization. And the life changing doesn't need to, it's not like winning the lotto. It's not that life changing. It's life changing that now there's certain things. Like the book I wrote was called The Semi-Retired Real Estate Agent. And a lot of people ask me about, oh, well, what is that? Like, you sit around and take naps, play golf all day, go fishing? No, I do none of that. But I made a commitment a few years ago that I wasn't going to miss any more of my daughter's soccer games. She's 16. She's got a couple years left of soccer. And what I did with RevShare is position myself in a way that I wasn't going to do an open house on Saturdays anymore. I wasn't going to miss any of these games because I had to go to work. Now, if I chose to do something and miss a game for that, that's a different story. But the semi-retired agent is not about like not doing anything and not selling homes, because I still do sell homes. But the reality is that just that little amount of money can be life-changing. I went from having to go work on Saturdays to a little bit of rev share to now living my life with my family and going to games and going to tournaments out of town and not having to worry about where that next check was coming. So when I talk about how you don't need to be an influencer, you don't have to have, a following of 150,000 people on TikTok, 50,000 people on Instagram, whatever. You don't need to be that type of influencer to actually have influence on someone's life. And if we go in with this idea of value, leading with value, and going in with how can I help this person, obviously it's going to help us in return, right? Because we do have rev share, that we get a benefit on it. But if instead of going, I need this many agents to do this, and then I can make this, and I can all that, how can you help someone else? Because there's John Cheplack, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. He talks about how someone will join you is the same way that they will leave you. If you're going to try and build a rev share organization based on you giving them leads, and you're giving them 100 leads, well, the next broker that comes along and says, hey, come join me, I'm going to give you 110 leads. They'll end up leaving you for more leads. So if you get them with more leads, they will leave you for more leads. On the other side, that he says, if you get them to buy into your vision and you have a vision of what it is that you want to do, then they will buy into that vision. And it's much tougher for somebody to come in and override that vision and get them into your vision. So I would recommend that you find yourself a vision. Where is it you want to go? And I would make a main point, the main pillar of what you want to do and where you want to go, to having to do centered around how you're helping people and what value you are providing people. So I just want to leave you guys with that. Be available, be engaged, understand that you're going to have agents that do more deals than you and are better attractors than you. Understand it. It's going to happen. And as your organization grows, you're going to meet those people, try to learn from those people, and try to see what value you can give them. I believe everybody has a unique talent, and I believe you do too. And you can use that to help your agents leverage you in any way you can, whether it's writing a book, whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's, posts on Facebook, or helping them, write letters to their local farm to help them get more business, add some type of value. And again, have their best interests in mind. Obviously, we are getting compensated for bringing them to the company, but also we really want to give them value and help them give others value as well. And again, just like me, my life was changed. And again, not lotto money, but by money that made us able to survive long enough to get through a difficult family time that we had. So again, as Russell Brunson said, there's somebody out there that wants what you have, and they're just waiting for you to share your voice with them. So go ahead and find that. So, all right, thank you guys. If you have any questions, you want to see the video where I explain my son a little bit in more depth, you can look it up on YouTube. Brandon Devere YouTube. I actually from the school, I share a quick 5-minute story of that in a little more depth. So feel free to share that with anybody that you're trying to attract to the company and say, hey, this guy, this is this guy's story. So feel free to do that. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Workplace, or, you can find me on social media as well. So, all right. Thank you guys, and good luck and happy attracting.
Another great session. Thank you so much, Brandon, for being on. That was fire. And the fire keeps on rolling, my friends, because next up, we are talking to the Connor Steinbrook, founder of the Wolf Pack. And he's going to be talking about the five ways to become a better leader. And there's one of them that I think is kind of interesting, and it's confidence. So this is only one of them, guys. He's going to talk about how you can build the confidence that you need to grow your business and your organization. And that's only one of them. So let's do it, guys. Let's toss it over to Connor Steinbrook.
Before we dig in, guys, thank you for clicking the video, but I want to ask you something. What do you think is the difference between a solopreneur over here and what we would call an entrepreneur over here? Well, one over here is a solo individual. They're not leading anything except themselves. Over here, we have people, and people deal with people problems. And that's why we need leaders. We need leaders to help people work through their problems, if that makes sense. So what we need to do is figure out how to work with people and how to help them develop themselves and solve their problems along the way, and hopefully not quit, protect that mindset, and help them develop their skill sets over time so they can become a successful person. Now, I currently run an organization here at eXp Realty with about 2,500 agents. Currently, in the past 30 days, we've added over 170 agents to our organization. Now, it took a lot of leadership strategies and training people on leadership in different ways to help develop these leadership teams that operate all around the country and all around the world now that are building this organization. So let me teach you some of the things I've taught some of the agent leaders in our organization that helped them become better leaders and helped us develop this large organization. And I want to give you about 5 actionable items, and let's dig into them right now. Number 1, guys, let's get right into it. Under promise, over deliver. I was asked to come and give 5 talking points on leadership by the company. I'm actually going to give you guys 7. Possibly 8, we'll see. Make it to the end of the video to find out, right? So what I want you guys to understand is under promising, over delivering is a massive commitment to your organization to show them that not only are you there, you're willing to do more for them than you actually promised that you'd actually do. And most people do the opposite. They they massively overpromise, and then they underdeliver, letting their organization down, creating a view from the bottom side looking up that I don't have a great leader up here, I don't have someone I can trust, I don't have someone I can follow, and they will let me down. And when they don't have the confidence that the leadership is there, these people will sit down, break down, will not do what they need to do. Whereas the opposite is, I believe in this person, they believe in me. When you underpromise, over-deliver, you're showing that you're believing in your organization, that you're willing to invest in the organization with time, money, and emotion. And when they know that you believe in them, they will believe in you, and everything will work out better as far as the synergistic nature, the culture, and the growth of that business and organization. Let's go on to number 2. Now here's number 2, guys. Let's call this gear shifting. Now what is gear shifting? It's the respect for your partners, to look at them as a human being. Now you're going to have dictator leaders, and then you're going to have real leaders. Now what a real leader is someone that doesn't have a one-step or one-trick pony or one-directional leadership strategy. They're not just ruling by force with my way or the highway or iron fist. They're actually looking at everybody as an individual person. They're looking them in the eye. They're saying, who is this person? What is in their heart? What is their goals? Or what are their goals? And where do they want to take their family in their future? And how can I help them get to that future? So some people over here have a one-speed lead, meaning all they do is treat everybody the same, run over everybody, and run through fear. And they try to create loyalty through dependency, not through respect. And then on this other side is, I'm going to shift gears, right? Gear shift. I'm going to look at John and say, well, John, he's 19 years old coming out of college. And Susan over here is 25 years in the business with a family, and she's been doing this, this, and this, and runs all these other businesses. Would you advise these people the same? Would you lead these individuals the same? Of course not. So what you need to do to be a great leader is identify the upcoming leaders in your organization, find out who they are. The more you know about them, the more you're going to grow. So great leaders know the names of their front line, or in our business model over here, right? They know their names. The better leaders know their family's names. They know their kids' names, but the best leaders, they know their dog's name, their cat's name, right? So the more you know your partners, the more you care about them, and the more you know and the more you care, the faster you're going to grow on both sides. You looking down and them looking up. Let's go on to number 3, guys. So number 3 is this, guys, setting expectations. If you're a leader, you're leading people. And when people follow you, you need to set expectations, because there's a top-down looking down expectation, and then there's a bottom-up looking up towards the top expectation, meaning what do I expect from my partners coming into this opportunity that I'm working with them on? Do I expect them to put money into the business? Do I expect them to put time in? When? Am I expecting to be on mastermind calls? What are my expectations for my future partners to get my time? And then on the flip side, they need to let you know what their expectations are of you as a leader. Because if we don't ask these expectation questions on both sides, then how do we know the expectations of each other? Now, here's what's going to happen in a leadership role. When you do not set the expectations with somebody, they're going to put their own expectations on you. And unfortunately, guys, many times these expectations, they're unfairly put on you. Meaning you bring someone over to work at EXP or whatever company you're working at, they come on over here, and on your side, you think that they're just going to come over here and be a partner. You're going to do the same things you've been doing with the other partners. But on their side, they think you're going to handhold them, take their hand here, do their marketing, do negotiating, raising their money, doing everything start to finish, and then cashing the check, but they put it in their bank account. Basically meaning doing everything for them. So if they have these huge expectations on you and you don't meet those expectations, guess what happens? They feel you let them down. But what really happened is they put unnecessary expectations on you. Nobody talked about it, and you don't know how to act around it because you didn't even know what they're expecting you to do. So great leaders have expectation calls or expectation understandings with their organization, each leadership group. And as the agents come in or whatever business you're building, understanding how to make this work correctly as far as two-sided, both looking up, or one looking up, one looking down, the expectation of the two in a partnership role. Because if you don't do this, guys, you're going to have communication breakdowns, and then guess what happens? Quick attrition. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to feel like you underpromised, or they're going to feel like you overpromised, underdelivered, and they're going to feel like you let them down, and then they're going to leave, if that makes sense. Now let's go on to number 4. Now here's number 4, guys. Do not create an inner circle and an outer circle inside your organization. Now an inner circle, outer circle would look like this. Let's say you're running a business and you have 100 people inside your organization. Now in a mastermind call, let's say there's a bunch of agents on the call. You're going to have the inner circle develop over time if you do not protect this, meaning you're going to have some people outside of it, some people in it. Now, who's the inner circle? These are just the active ones. These are the ones that are always involved in the call. They're the ones that feel like they have entitlement to speak on every call, and they're the ones that are going to be talking all the time. You may have 5, 10, 25% tops inner circle and the rest of your organization in the outer circle. But what's happening to these people over here? They're looking at these children getting all the attention all the time, and they're getting frustrated because they feel left in the dark. So what you need to do is do not let an outer circle, inner circle weird dynamic develop. Start asking the outer circle to come into the conversation. So if I have John, Susan, Rick, Erica, and all these different agents that are quiet on the call, what am I going to do? I'm not going to call on the people that are always talking. I'm not going to just let them talk all the time. I'm going to reach past the inner circle, go out to the outer circle, grab these quiet voices, pull them in, force them out of their comfort zone, and make them feel seen and accepted and welcomed, and make them feel like a part of the group. Because if you don't, if someone feels outside the group for long enough, guess what they're going to do? They're never going to get inside that group ever. And they're going to leave and go to the next opportunity or the next company. So do not allow inner circle, outer circles, guys. I know you're going to have close friendships and people that you have priority time commitments with. But by letting the rest of your organization know that they don't matter and only a few people do, you're going to find out what happens long term if you keep this mentality in your business. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Number 5, guys, here it is. Leaders create certainty in uncertain moments. And right now, we are definitely in a very uncertain moment in the world that we're living in with the real estate market and all the craziness post-pandemic, right? So what do leaders do when the world's melting down and everybody's panicked and nobody knows what's going to happen? There's no certainty anywhere. A leader steps in and walks right in and says, don't worry. I'm here, no need to fear. There's a certain direction we're going, and I'm convicted that this is the right direction that's going to get us out of these problems, pain, suffering, lack of faith, lack of hope, and we're going to end up at the end of this, and it's going to be a beneficial and an awesome and a great future, and I'm going to show you the direction, so just follow the strength and follow the conviction, right? They can control their emotions. They have what's called EI, or emotional awareness, or emotional intelligence, that in tough times with external emotional pressure in a recession or depression, or things are happening to the macro level, meaning lots of people at a time, they're the ones that are strong enough to stand up against their emotions, stay strong, find a convicted path, create certainty around that path, and get others behind that certainty. They lead people out of uncertain times. So think about what you can do for your organization right now to create that hope, faith, and certainty in them, and they're going to follow you, and you're going to be a better leader. Number 6, guys, let's dig into it. This is called guarding the garden. What they understand is there's a positive mindset and a negative mindset. A negative mindset is going to be weeds. A positive mindset, I guess, would be like roses or something like that. And in your organization, you're going to have waves of different types of negative and positive emotions that come in and out. You could have it with individuals. You could have it with groups of individuals within groups, if that makes sense. You could have 2 or 3 people always negative over here, but over here, everybody's always positive. So what are we trying to do? In group settings, leaders do what? They remove the weeds and plant the roses. So I'm going to call on positive people, people that have good questions. I'm going to bring positive voices on the mastermind call. I'm not going to ask the people that are negative, always whining, complaining, bringing negativity into the call. If I know they've asked negative questions in the past, why would I bring them up in front of a group? They're going to put negative weeds inside the garden of everybody else. So the next thing is I'm always trying to help them pull the negative thought processes and the negative weeds out of their own mind. When I see someone that's getting extra negative or they're going down a negative loop, my job as a leader is to reach down, help them do what's called a pattern redirection, get out of that negative thought process. And you guys can learn this through watching my YouTube channel and going, on the internet, watching, pattern disruption, how to shift emotional states and things like that. But we need to find out where the mindset's at, why it's negative, how to break that and shift it back to a positive mindset. So we're always guarding the garden. We're trying to block negative things coming in it, and we're trying to fill it with positive things, if that makes sense, because negativity and a negative person, just one, can be a nasty nightmare and a virus inside your organization that can scatter through it very quickly. So leaders develop other leaders by pulling the weeds out of the garden, protecting the negative thoughts, and replacing them with the positive thoughts. Okay, let's go on to number 7. Number 7, guys, as a leader, it is very important to understand. We lead by example, but we do not do for others. We need to make sure that we're not solving problems for others, but helping them understand how to solve their own problems. Listen to what I'm going to say very closely. As a leader, it is not to build someone else's business for them in the business that we're building. It is our job to build the belief within our partners that they can build their own business. I hope you listen to what I said there very carefully. What my job is this. I'm not trying to go do things for others. This is a big problem that you're going to have in your business. Think about how many parents did too many things for their children, right? So if I think back into like when I was growing up, my mom used to help edit my high school papers and things like that. She was a book publisher or worked at a book publishing company. And so what happened was she would edit these papers and I wasn't getting the corrective mistakes and learning why I was making mistakes. And guess what happened? Still today, I misspell words and have grammar errors from time to time. Now, I'm not completely an idiot, right? But sometimes I do things that should be common sense to do, but it's because I had someone, a leader, my mother, do too many things for me. So here's what you need to do when people come to you with problems. Do not solve their problem for them. Show them how to solve it. Don't just go do it for them, right? Because guess what happens? They didn't learn how to do it on their own. You want to inspire them to do it on their own and then encourage them after it in response being, I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. You stood up against adversity, you figured it out, and now look at how much better path it was. Look at how much you grew. Look at how much you accomplished as compared to if I had just done this for you, right? It's very important. We do not do everything for others. We inspire them and create a belief within them that they can do it on their own, okay? Let's go into the last one, guys, and wrap this up. Hopefully this helped, guys, but we're gonna end it with this one. Now here's the last message I wanna give you guys. Hold all your promises to your partners and especially to yourself. If you do not hold your promises to your partners and you say you're gonna be at a meeting and you don't, show up. Or you say you're going to create a course and you don't do it, or you say you're going to give leads out and then you don't do it, guess what happens? The trust breaks down, and guess what? If there's no trust, there is no business. Leadership is about trust, and leadership is about compassion and creating belief and hope for others. And so if you break down the trust within your business, they don't trust you, they will never follow you. And guess what? If they still don't believe that you trust in them and that you believe that they have the opportunity to get to where you're trying to help them get to, meaning, do they actually believe that I'm a good baseball player? Can I hit home runs? Or are they just saying this to me, right? They need to have the trust that you believe in them and vice versa. And what we need to do is we need to create a trust factor. They need to be seen and accepted is what they want. You need to make sure that you're never lying to anybody in your business, holding your promises to them, and at the same time, making sure each partner, each person in your organization is feeling seen and accepted. Because if there's no trust, they feel like they're not important because they're not seen and nobody cares about them and they're not accepted, they will leave. And you broke down as a leader and did a lot of things that do not work for leadership, and you ran people out of your organization, and you're going to continually have to rebuild it. I hope this helps, guys. These are tips that help me with my leadership background or my leadership journey. Hopefully they can help you with yours, and subscribe to the channel. Have a good day.